Good morning. Today we are going to read lesson The Cop and the Anthem. We have already started this lesson yesterday and we know that there is a character whose name is Soapy. He wants to go to prison for the winter season as he doesn't have any home. And the other thing is that he doesn't want to work for anybody. He just wants free food, free shelter, and everything for free without doing anything. So, for him, this is the best idea to do something wrong and to get arrested, and then finally, when he would be sent to jail, to prison, he would have a comfortable life during the winter season. So he did the first thing to he had plans, and first plan was that he would go to some restaurant, have food, and at the time of payment he would say that he don't have any money, and then he would be arrested by the cops and would be sent to the prison at Blackwell's Island. But his plan failed. Then his second plan was that he broke the window of a shop. Then, when he broke the window of this shop, he didn't run away. He stopped there. He kept standing there. And when a cop came there and he asked that who had done this, then he said that, don't you think I would have done it? But for cop, it was quite strange that if somebody would break the glass of some window or do something wrong and he would keep standing and he won't run away, for cop that was just impossible. So what happened? He was friendly, means Soapy was friendly and happy. What he wanted was coming towards him, means cop was coming towards him. But the cop's mind would not consider Soapy. Men who break windows do not stop there to talk to cops. Obviously, according to cop, it is correct that he won't. Whoever has done something wrong won't stay there to talk to cops. He would run away. They run away as fast as they can. The cop saw a man further along the street running. He ran after him. Suddenly saw that somebody was running. So he started running behind that man. And Soapy, sick at heart, walked slowly away. Now Soapy was disappointed and he left the place and he started walking. Now he had failed 2 times. Across the street was another restaurant. It was not so fine as the one on Broadway. It was not a restaurant which one could call a very fine one, but yes, the people who went there were not so rich. Its food was not so good. Into this Soapy took his old shoes and his torn clothes and no one stopped him. But the best thing was but the best thing about this restaurant was that he was not stopped by anyone. With his broken shoes, torn clothes, he was allowed to get inside. He sat down at a table and was soon eating a big dinner. When he had finished, he said he had no money. Now, when he finished his food, he told the waiters that he didn't have money. So now he said, get busy and call a cop, said Soapy, and don't keep a gentleman waiting. Now Soapy is asking the waiter to call the cops and so that he could be arrested. But opposite thing happened. No cop for you, said the waiter. He called another waiter. The two waiters threw Soapy upon his left ear on the hard street outside. Now Soapy was thrown outside and he fell off there. Then he stood up slowly, one part at a time, and beat the dust from his clothes. Prison seemed only a happy dream. The island seemed very far away. Now he was failing again and again. So Soapy was a bit disappointed, and for him, it seemed that prison was quite away from him. It won't be easy to get in there. A cop who was standing near laughed. and walked away. Soapy started moving again. When he stopped, he was near several theaters. In this part of the city, are brighter and hearts are more joyful than in other parts. Women and men in rich, warm coats moved happily in the winter air. Now, Soapy continued walking, and he reached at a place where there were bright streets and people were happy roaming around here and they are wearing rich clothes. So he reached at such place. A sudden fear caught Soapy. No cop was going to arrest him. Now he got afraid that he was not going to be arrested. Then how would he survive during the winter season? Then he came to another cop standing in front of a big theater. He thought of something else to try. Now Soapy was not going to give up so easily. So when he saw a cop standing in front of a theater, he tried to do something else. What did he do? He began to shout as if he had too much to drink. His voice was as loud as he could make it. He danced, he cried out, and the cop turned his back to Soapy and said to a man standing near him. Now, what happened? Soapy tried to show that as if he was fully drunk. He started shouting, he started dancing, he was crying, so that cop comes to him and arrest him. But again, something opposite happened. The cop turned his back. He didn't even look at the Soapy. He ignored him and he started talking to another man who was standing there and said, "It's one of those college boys. He won't hurt anything. We have orders to let them shout." Now cop said that this is just a man who is not drunk. Obviously who is drunk, but he's a college boy. He would just shout and go away. He won't hurt anybody, and we do have orders to let them keep shouting. Soapy was quiet. Was no cop going to touch him? He began to think of the island as if it were as far away as a star. For him now, island seemed to be as far as a star. He pulled his thin coat around him. The wind was very cold. Then he saw a man in a shop buying a newspaper. The man's umbrella stood beside the door. Now suddenly he saw that there was a man in a shop who was buying a newspaper, and suddenly he noticed that man's umbrella was there beside the door. Soapy stepped inside the shop, took the umbrella, and walked slowly away. Now what did he do? He picked up the umbrella, and the man followed him quickly. Now when Soapy was walking away from the shop, that man also started following him. "My umbrella," he said. "Oh, is it?" said Soapy. "Why don't you call a cop? I took it. Your umbrella. Why don't you call a cop? There is one standing at the corner." Now Soapy is so desperate to go to jail that he tells the man that, "Why don't you call a cop? See, I have stolen your umbrella. Call a cop. See, one is standing there at the corner." The man walked more slowly. Soapy did the same. But he had a feeling that he was going to fail again. Now, again, a gut feeling was there. Soapy felt that, yes, I am not going to be successful this time also. The cop looked at the two men. "I," said the umbrella man. "That is, you know how these things happen? If that's your umbrella, I'm very sorry. I found it this morning in a restaurant. If you say it's yours, I hope you will. It's mine," cried Soapy with anger in his voice. Now what happened? That man said that, "See, this is not my umbrella. I found it in a restaurant. I think you are the real owner of this umbrella. So if it is yours, take it away." So now Soapy became frustrated and he shouted in anger, "It's mine." So again, Soapy's plan was failed.